So in this video, I wanted to cover the very important question that I get asked frequently, which is, can your attachment style change after trauma? So in this video, I'll take you through the answer to that question, and then we'll talk about how this happens, and we'll even discuss a little bit about the different variations of this, according to if you think you might have switched to a more anxious leaning attachment style after a past relationship or traumatic event, a fearful avoidant, aka disorganized attachment style, or a dismissive avoidant. So, first and foremost, the answer is obviously yes. Your attachment style can absolutely change. You are not born with an attachment style, it's actually the result of conditioning over time. So, think of it this way: your attachment style is essentially the subconscious set of patterns and rules that you learned about how to love. And so, whatever happens to you through repetition plus emotion is what actually fires and wires neural pathways that cause you to essentially learn to behave and learn to give and receive love through the circuitry essentially of what was modeled to you or how you were treated or what was taught to you by your parents and caregivers. So our attachment style develops over time. It develops originally between the ages of 0 to 2 years old, but this is not to say our attachment style cannot change after trauma. So let's look at a couple really classic examples. Number one, you are securely attached as a child, let's pretend. And at the age of 6 years old, your parents go through a painful divorce in which both parents become very emotionally unavailable. And maybe that's because they're dealing with their own trauma, their own stuff. And so at 6 years old, all of a sudden, you experience a lot more emotional neglect. What started as what started as a securely attached style will eventually turn into you experiencing more neglect that fires and wires new neural networks, new circuitry, new ways of giving love, receiving love, learning about love. And over time, that repetition and emotion is what reprograms your attachment style patterns. So your subconscious set of rules for how to give and receive love will be changed and shaped by that experience at 6 years old. And thus, you may experience becoming more dismissive avoidant later on. So, this is point number one. Other variations of this could be, let's say you were fully securely attached. Okay, we're going to go in a totally different direction here now. You were fully securely attached your whole childhood and upbringing. And maybe you had a bit of like an anxious side to you as like a secondary style, but it was a small portion. Maybe you're going through kind of a hard time. You moved to a new city, you were sort of starting out a new life, and you didn't really know anybody. And all of a sudden, somebody came into your life who was a narcissist and they love bombed you, and you felt alone in that new city. And so you decided, you know what, I'm going to connect to this person. They're not so bad. They're coming on a little strong, but let's see what happens. And, you were sort of in a more vulnerable position than usual, ended up in a long term relationship with a narcissist for, let's say, 2, 3 years. So somewhat long term, right? And then let's say, because of the repetition and emotion of the gaslighting, the manipulation, the mind games, the aggressiveness, the being exploited, taking advantage of, all these different things, because of all of that, just repetitively over and over and over again for 2 or 3 years, you came out of that relationship a fearful avoidant attachment style. And that would constitute as trauma. And I want to be really clear about something too, which is that trauma is not always this like one experience that's singular and very chaotic. So it's not always the car accident or the earthquake or this one standout traumatic event. Of course, that's an example of trauma, but a lot of the most insidious, kind of challenging trauma to work through and get over actually happens through a lot of repetition and emotion over time. And that's actually what makes trauma a little bit more complex. So it's very easy to be in a dynamic where a lot of that's happening for a prolonged period of time. And that can absolutely rewire your subconscious rules for how to give and receive love, what to expect in relationships, everything that your attachment style essentially encompasses. We'll do one more example here. Let's say instead that you grow up in a household where, everything is good. You have this really stable childhood and upbringing. And then let's say 8 or 9 years old, one of your parents passes away. This in and of itself is likely to create an anxious attachment style. And if there's a lot of safety in the home, and if the caregiver is reliable, you're going to be more likely AP than DA. But that loss, that abandonment feeling, that experience at a young age can absolutely move you from a securely attached style into a more anxious leaning style, really fearing those wounds coming up again, the abandonment, the being alone, the feeling unsafe because of that abandonment and that disconnection from a caregiver you really rely on. So you can see all of these different manifestations. I mean, there's honestly endless examples, but you can see all these different manifestations of how you can go from securely attached to insecurely attached in quite a short period of time based on the way the subconscious mind is programmed. So I have some exciting news, which is that we are doing $1,000 off of our lifetime membership sale to the Personal Development School, which means you get access to literally everything at PDS for your entire rest of your life. Essentially, that entails all of our different courses you have lifetime access to. I do 4 live webinars a week, every single week. You can access them ongoing, and you get access to all of our daily community events. So I'd love to see you on the other side, and you can access it by using the link in the description box below. Now, I do want to say that if you are anybody who's struggling with your attachment style right now, you're sick of feeling, like you're FA and you're on a roller coaster all the time, or if you're sick of feeling like you're anxious, preoccupied, and you're constantly having that panic in your body and fear of your partner leaving or pulling away, or if you're dismissive, avoidant, and you're tired of feeling like relationships aren't working and they're chaotic and you just want something harmonious and simple and know how to really do relationships in a healthy way, you can check out any of our attachment style reprogramming courses for free for 7 days using the link down below. And each of these courses is designed to literally recondition your subconscious mind, giving you the exact tools that you need to actually recondition and reprogram your attachment style. Because like I said at the beginning of this video, you're not born with your attachment style. It gets conditioned into you through repetition plus emotion over time. And you can recondition that style through repetition and emotion over time so that you become securely attached and can really have thriving, stable relationships that last, but that still have the excitement and the spice and the interest and all of that really amazing stuff that you got into a relationship for in the first place. So if you want to check out any of those, please use the link down below for free for 7 days. And I hope that makes sense. And also, if you're new to this channel, welcome. Please consider subscribing. I make daily free content for you about all things relationships, lifestyle, attachment style related, particularly as it relates to the subconscious mind. This is like the personal development school for your subconscious, which is, where real change actually takes place. So if you want to check any videos out or subscribe and hit the notification bell, you won't miss any videos on any day because I post them literally every single day. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know any other questions or comments you have down below too. And I look forward to seeing you in tomorrow's video.